remind myself of some of these things. So what am I supposed to be doing, Darwin? Am I supposed to be waiting on you to?
Nasif, you're supposed to go through the question
Okay. Gotcha.
and answer the question,
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. So,
and we can all answer the question, and then
oh,
see the answer to the question and figure out what the correct answer is and why we got it, the grade
okay.
we got it.
All right. So this is what it says: a critical path method, CPM chart would graphically depict which of the following variables and items of a project. Check for that applies, and it says see a sequence of tasks. So let me just from my first pass, I said sequence of tasks is one of them. So I would use let me see here. See, um, 1 second. Does this work? No, it doesn't work. Dang it.
You might be able to draw a box like under draw or design.
Yeah, let me see. Draw. Uh, where are the boxes? Where do you
Do
find it?
design
Yeah,
beside.
the design. Thank you. Themes. What is this? Hold on 1 second, please, guys. Sorry. My buddies are going to color. No, that's not it, right? Darwin, do you,
What software is this, by the way?
it's just Word. It's Microsoft Word.
Oh, it looks different than the word I use. Is that
Oh no,
360?
no, yeah, it's 365, but it's because Mac set up their interface a little different.
Oh, shapes. There we go.
There you go. Thank you, Miranda. So I chose this.
Gotta make it transparent somehow.
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Let me delete that. We do. What was it again? It was layout.
I don't know.
Design.
No, it wasn't designed. It wasn't.
Draw. No?
No.
But you can draw. That's fine. You can draw.
You can also here. Why don't we do the annotate tool?
Insert.
We'll just do it in Zoom instead, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. The Miranda, you just do the whatever selection. So sequence of tasks was one of
Okay.
them. Um, I did early and latest possibility to finish time for task was the other one, and cost. Let's see, hold on. The task needed for completion and their duration. That's the third one.
Mhm.
Um, what else? And the earliest and latest possible finish time for a task. So those four. So sequence of tasks, early and latest possible to starting time of a task, and early and latest possible finish times for a task.
So you got this one too, right?
Yes.
These are
Yeah.
your four.
Yeah.
Was that right or wrong?
You know what? I don't even look at the answers. I know I didn't even look at the answers. I know those are I have them though. I have
Well,
them.
I'm puzzled by this one a little. Maybe the spelling is wrong. Stating. What is that? This
Oh, statting. So it's like stats. Looking at stats.
Stating.
Huh?
Stating.
earliest and latest possible stating time.
I think it's going to be
Oh,
starting.
Exactly. That doesn't.
it's stating time. I thought it was like
No spelling error. Well, Albelis, maybe you have another answer.
No idea.
Do you know what a critical path method is, Abelis?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Nasif, can you open in Google a critical path method diagram?
oh yeah, sure. One
You
second.
sound pretty far, Darwin.
Now I sound better, right?
Yeah, no, it sounds better.
Yeah. Sometimes I move this because I'm drinking coffee.
Are you guys see my screen?
No.
We do not. We only see your Word document.
Oh, 1 second. How do you share the entire screen, dude? Oh,
Try and like stop sharing and then share again.
yeah. Why is it not showing? All right. Yeah, 1 second. Stop sharing and share the entire screen, right?
Yeah.
Desktop one. So share desktop one, right? Desktop one. I should be sure. Are you guys seeing everything on the screen right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sorry. I'll do that.
I think I made a mistake. I should have been running the meeting.
Yes. All right. So what am I supposed to be looking for?
Critical path.
Critical path method diagram.
Go vote. I hope everyone's voting.
Am I too late to take over?
No, you can take over, dude.
I'm sorry. I just have something on what critical path method is, and maybe I can share that little video real quick.
Yeah. So let me
Remember Miranda?
Mhm.
All right. So
Can you send me the questions and answers that you just had? You already sent that to me?
yeah, I already did.
Okay, so because this is what I mean, Albel. It's like we answer questions and we just go over what those things are, like whether we know them or not.
Okay.
That's the point, to figure them out. So I'm gonna share my screen and share a quick video, but I will try not to have us watch. Actually, I could refresh it. Might not be a problem. Let me see. Exams, past exams, project management. I will share my screen one, and then we're gonna go through contracts, website, study guide. So what Nasir was talking about was a type of diagram that we use in order to know the sequence of events and how they relate with one another. In other words, a critical path method. So I'm just gonna write Gantt chart real quick.
Oh, I've heard that one, but not the actual name.
So Gantt charts are some tools that we use to know when one event begins and when another event continues and how they work together.
How they overlap.
Yeah, and the critical path method is kind of like the longest path within the whole chart, because that's the one that will take the longest. That's the one that will tell you when you really will finish the event, when you really will finish that. And they typically, for instance, this whole thing is showing a critical path, this one right here, right? It's the longest path among all of these different pieces. And what Nasif was sharing and showing were really a bunch of concepts that, oh, he actually sent me the answers, that you wouldn't understand unless you saw what we were talking about. So the critical path method chart would graphically depict which of the following variables and items of a project. So I already told you that it shows sequences, right? You saw the different sequences in here. It shows earliest and latest possible starting time of a task, maybe, because it does show when they can begin and when they can end, possibly. And then it shows earliest and latest possible finishing times for a task. Yeah. Individual team member task timelines, maybe, because you can associate it by teams. You can make it so that like team Arbelis is gonna work on this, team Miranda is gonna be working on this, and you know when they're working and what the timelines are for them. So that may be an answer. And then, but the cost associated with particular tasks, you don't see it. You just see how long they're gonna take, not how much they're gonna cost. You may infer cost because of time, because you can associate a time to cost, but that's just an extra step on like budgeting, not necessarily something you just pick up from the chart. Like as soon as you see the chart, you don't see cost, you just see time. And so that we talk about it, I will show you this screen now. I don't know if the audio is being shared right now, but I'll share it now with so that you hear this guy. He's an expert on critical path methods and Gantt charts and things like that. And I like to use him because he's an expert. That's what he does. That's what he's really, really, really good at. So I'm gonna put him to talk a little bit about it. All right.
I'm Chris Croft, and welcome to this training course on Gantt charts. They are probably the most useful project management technique there is. If you're planning or controlling the implementation of a project of any size, then you'll need to have a Gantt chart. And yet, they are hugely misunderstood. Most people don't know the easiest way to produce them, and they end up making them too complicated, and then they don't fully use them. Gantt charts can be so great if you use them correctly. So on this course, I'm going to show you everything you need to know about Gantt charts. I'm going to cover what they are, why they're so useful, how to construct them, even the most difficult ones, and then we'll take a close look at all of the things you can use them for. By the end of the course, you'll know all about them and you'll be able to produce and use them for any project. So, let's get started. In the ideal world, you would have already viewed my Lynda course entitled Project Management Simplified.
So I was gonna say that, he's very good and they're very short videos so that we can just watch and enjoy.
Where I explain how Gantt charts fit into the larger scheme of project management. They are in fact step 6 of my 12-step process, because before you can construct one, you need to have listed out all of your tasks, estimated how long they will take, and decided on which ones depend on which other ones. But if you already know about that and you just want to get better at the Gantt side of things, then feel free to plunge straight into this course. In fact, even if you're a pretty experienced project manager and have been using Gantt charts for years, I bet you'll pick up a few useful tips from watching this course. And those could make all the difference on your next multi-million-dollar project. Alternatively, if you know nothing about project management, you could do things in a slightly unusual order. You could view this course, and if you like it, then watch Project Management Simplified later and see how your new understanding of Gantt charts will fit into the bigger picture of managing your projects. To accompany this course, there are a number of PDFs that you can download. These complement the graphics that will be coming and going quite fast. Gantt charts are one of the oldest surviving management tools. They were invented by an American called Henry Gantt way back in 1910. And it's amazing that in over 100
You're muted.
Just so you know, 1910, so just to give you architectural perspective, 1919 was when they opened the Bauhaus. The Bauhaus was as this momentum in Germany, so 1919.
100 years, nobody has come up with something better. It makes me think that maybe there just isn't anything better. Here's an example of one, and you can see it's pretty intuitive. You've got dates across the top, which can be weeks or months or even days, and then the tasks listed down the side. The bars show how long each task is going to take. Now, there are 4 main uses for a chart like this. The first one is planning your project. Who's going to do what? How long will it take to get it all done? You can also plan how many people you'll need and even how much money you'll need, as we'll see later. The second reason is explaining the project to other people. Everyone can see their part in the project, and even if they've had no training, they know intuitively what they're looking at. The third reason is monitoring whether we're still on schedule or not. This is done by colouring in the tasks that have been completed so far. Again, more on this later, but I do just want to stress that there is no other way that's ever been found to monitor the progress of a project. I had an inquiry from a customer about running a 2-day project management course, and I sent them an outline of what I was going to do. And I was a little bit anxious because they were a company that make wind farms. And the people who work there are incredibly clever. They use mathematical modeling to make a 3D computer image of the mountain, and they simulate the fluid flow of the air over the mountain so they can maximize the energy they get from the turbines. Because if you can get 5% more energy out, it's worth millions of pounds. So these people, they do lots of maths and are really clever. So I thought they were probably going to know everything on my course, but nevertheless, I sent them the outline of what I would do on the 2 days. And they emailed back and they said, we think it looks great, except you don't need to do Gantt charts because we don't use Gantt charts at our company. And I thought, well, that's weird. You know, what do they use instead? They've probably got some really clever thing that they've invented. So I mailed back saying, okay, fine, I'll just miss out the Gantt charts. But just out of curiosity, how do you monitor your progress against your plan? How do you know whether you're still on schedule to finish on time or not? And there was a week of silence from the other end. And then I got this email back and it said, okay then, do the Gantt charts. And I thought, yes. But I was a little bit disappointed as well, because I was hoping they were going to show me something really clever that they'd invented. But there is nothing else. In all the years I've been teaching this, nobody has been able to show me anything better than a Gantt chart for monitoring progress. Anyway, finally, the fourth reason why Gantt charts are great is for adjusting your plan if things change during your project, which they inevitably will. Maybe extra tasks have to be added, maybe the whole plan suddenly needs to be speeded up, or maybe you're running late and you have to issue an amended plan to everybody involved. The Gantt chart makes all of this easy. So in the next section, I'm going to explain how to construct one for your project. But first, I'd like you to just take a moment to think about whether you have a chart like this for each of your projects. And if not, do you think it would be helpful if you did? The critical path is the longest path, and that's all it means. I think in the old days it may have been called the time critical path, and that's just been shortened now to be just the critical path. People often miss it, and they think that the tasks on the critical path are the most difficult or expensive or the most failure-prone tasks. But they're not. They're just the ones that take the longest time to get done. So you can have trivial tasks like routine paperwork on the critical path and massive, expensive, important things that aren't on the critical path. So the first thing when drawing a Gantt chart is to put in the critical path, and it's always drawn coming down in steps like this. By the way, I'm using Excel to draw the Gantt charts on this course, but with Microsoft Project it's similar, and later I'll be giving you more information on the pros and cons of these two. So why is it drawn coming down in steps? Well, the main reason is that you then have everything on its own line. So you can have extra columns off to the side for who's doing each task, which department they're in, that sort of thing. It also means that you can show slippage, what has actually happened compared with what should have happened.
So this is a very good term to know, a slippage, what is actually happening versus what should be happening. They use these terms in the exam, and sometimes we don't know what they are. Like also they use the term lag, they use the term, so there are all of these terms. And by the way, if you ever facing a fast track project, you're gonna be needing one of these Gantt charts and critical path charts.
The main area we want to keep an eye on in terms of slippage is the critical path, because any of those tasks going late means that they'll push everything else late, and then the whole project will end up being delivered late. But floating tasks can also be a problem if they end up slipping, if they go so late that they affect the critical path. Now, something that many people don't realise is that you can't really draw the Gantt chart unless you already know the critical path, because everything hangs off it. And the best way to get the critical path is to do a network diagram, which is one of these. Quite often produced using Post-its, but you could use a computer to do it. So basically, you find the critical path by just adding up the times as you go across. Computers do it by doing something really complicated called a forward and backward pass. And some people teach that you should do this when you're doing it manually. But personally, I think that's just not necessary. Keep it simple. Just look at the diagram. You can easily see what the longest path is. If you start with a network diagram and then make it into a Gantt chart, it'll be quicker in the end than spending ages on your Gantt chart. You'll need about 20 minutes making the network diagram, probably using the post-its, and then 10 minutes making it into a Gantt chart. That's all you need, half an hour. And it will be correct. If you try to jump straight to the Gantt chart, you'll miss some dependencies and maybe get the wrong critical path. Even Microsoft Project does it in these 2 stages really, but without you knowing. So when you enter tasks straight into the Gantt chart view, it is actually drawing the network diagram in the background. In fact, you can click and view it if you want. But although this is clever, I actually think it encourages bad habits. If you let the computer draw the network diagram rather than doing it yourself, you run the risk of missing some dependencies and therefore getting the wrong critical path. And then the foundation of your whole project plan will be wrong. So, for your project, have you done a network diagram, ideally using post-its, and then put in your critical path? Next, I want to explain a few minor complications that can happen when you're finding and drawing your critical path. For a start, what if there are 2 critical paths? This happens when you have 2 equal longest paths through your network diagram, 2 tasks or rows of tasks that take the same time. And the answer is, it's easy. You just draw them one above the other, like this. Next, what if you have tasks that you want to overlap a little in order to save time? Overlap can be just shown as it is. In my example here, I'm modifying my buildings while still waiting for the last furniture quotations to come in. You just show the rectangles overlapping. But often a better way to show overlap is to granulate the task, which means cut them up into smaller parts. The reason for this is that when you overlap things, you need to know exactly when the second one can start. At what point halfway through the first task can we start the second one? So you draw this by either dividing the first or the second task. I'll just give you an example of this using real tasks so you can visualize it. Let's say we're planning to overlap recruiting the staff with recruiting the manager. So halfway through getting the manager, we're going to start getting the staff. We need to know exactly when we're going to start recruiting the staff. So either we divide the manager or the staff down further, as follows. We could divide the manager into selecting the manager, that'd be interviews, etc., and then the notice period. We have to wait for the manager to work their notice. So what we would do is, we would say after we've selected the manager, we can then get him or her to help interview the staff, as well as waiting for their notice period. Or, and I think I prefer this one in this example, we could divide the staff into, say, first and second interviews. And then we say, we can do the first interviews for the staff at the same time as recruiting the manager. But the second interviewers will need to wait until after we've got the manager. So by doing this, we can keep everything clear and simple.
By the way, this stuff is really awesome. I really like project management. It's just, I just love it. You know, like figuring ways of doing things the most efficient way, the fastest, the best, you know, and things like that. So this is what this is all about. Now, Abelis, are you getting it a little bit more about what we were talking about on that question?
Yeah. Sorry.
It's all about management and time and things like that. I think I'll end this clip and then we'll go back to the question. Okay.
Okay.
Every task has to wait till the previous task is completely finished. None of this woolly, it's kind of overlapping stuff. Now, finally in this section, I want to mention that some people like to use special case dependencies. The good news is that you're unlikely to need to use these, but I think I need to tell you about them just in case you come across them in someone else's project plan. There are 4 ways tasks can be linked, and then you can have time lags between them. The 4 ways tasks can be linked are as follows. There's the normal one that we should always use, finish to start. After one task finishes, the next one can start. Then there's start to start. After one task has started, another can start. For example, once this camera is rolling, I can start talking to you. And then there's finish to finish. Once the first thing has finished, maybe your car journey, then the second thing can finish. Maybe you wearing your sunglasses. And finally, a very rarely used connection, start to finish. where one thing can only finish after something else has started, like a shift handover or something. But with all of these, it's simpler and better to use finish to start. Otherwise, your plan will just get too confusing. Then there's the time lags that can happen between tasks, sometimes known as lead and lag. If you're doing some painting, you might need to wait for it to dry and then do the next coat. And this could be shown as a 2-hour lag between the two painting tasks. But I think just show it as 3 tasks: paint, wait to dry for 2 hours, and then more painting. Keep it as simple as you can, that's the essence. So personally, I would avoid unusual dependencies. Just stick to finish to start, and I would avoid lead and lag. But overlapping is important. So thinking about your project, are there any tasks on the critical path that could be overlapped a little?
All right, so that's what we're talking about. So on your question, Nassif, going back to it, and I was trying to fact check my stuff. Yep, in 1919, the Bauhaus was open, and the Gantt charts were created in 1910, remember? So we said that we liked, I'm gonna use the annotate tool, and we like sequence of tasks, right? Everybody thinks it's good. Earliest and latest possible starting time of a task. Yeah, I think you do show that what how early you can start and how late you can start, and then the task needed for completion and their duration. Yeah, I think so. You're gonna put the task name and then how long they take, and then the earliest and latest possible finishing time for a task. I think that's true. Overall, I think that's true. Let's take a look at the answer. Everybody agree?
Yep.
Okay, so what do we have for answers, Nassif? Is this the first one? Sequence of tasks, early and latest. The task needed for completion, early and latest. Yeah, so we're good, right? You're
Yeah.
muted. You're muted.
Just also a question. So every time they refer to the critical path methods, they refer to the Gantt chart. So like there's synonyms.
Well, Gantt charts have a critical path method. Like Gantt charts
Okay.
could show it. They don't necessarily all show it. A Gantt chart, well, if you think about a Gantt chart as a pool, a Gantt chart is the pool. The critical path method is like water in the pool.
The water in the pool. Okay.
Or something in the pool. Yeah, exactly. It's like a thing that happens within the thing. Miranda, how would you describe it?
Well, sometimes I know with the critical path method, sometimes you get those charts where they show like the start and then the end, and they show all the numbers and sequences going towards that end. And it's not in the form of like the Gantt chart, bar chart. It's looks kind of like a web.
It's like a sequence of events type of deal, right?
Yeah.
Like with numbers associated with, yeah.
Yeah. So they'll say like painting is going to take this many days, drywalling is going to take this long. What is the longest critical path? And you pick like.
Yeah, I think I had a similar question in the practice when they were saying they had to pull permit. So how would be the permit takes 2 months? That was the critical path, 2 months, because they had to do it before. Like do everything or something like that. It was about I think now I get it.
I think Ballast practice test has good like critical path and Gantt chart questions.
Maybe I'm gonna open now the handbook of professional practice real quick and see what kind of diagrams they show for the critical path, just because.
They just show one on page 632, but it's a Gantt chart.
So critical path method, a scheduling method in which all events expected to occur and operations to be performed in completing a given process are rendered in a form permitting determination of the optimum sequence and duration of each operation. That's a good one. It's really the best way of achieving that goal. Like out of all the maps and all the sequences, this is kind of like the best way of achieving that goal. Let me see if they have, I want to see a diagram. And it's associated with fast track scheduling, as I said before. And this is a Gantt chart. And then, you know, the critical path would be like these things, right? The longest path. So there are multiple ones in here.
Yeah, there's more YouTube videos I remember watching as well.
Okay. All right, perfect. So we got that. And then let's go to the next question. In the meantime, we got Donald Trump on top. All right. We still have time. Place your bets, guys. Place your bets.
Too early.
And then massive. I think I need to download this.
Sorry.
Question number 2. An allowance for a particular material stated by the contractor will comprise of which of the following? Life cycle costs. Check 3 that apply. Somebody wrote a question.
Oh, that's me. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm just putting a link to a critical path method YouTube video as well.
Oh, well, we at it. Let's just put it.
All right, assignment.
Yes, this is
It's
very
too
good.
long.
This is very good to see. You don't need to. We
Yeah.
don't need to watch the video, but this is. I've seen this diagram before. It looks very familiar to me. So I would say let's try to watch it at another time. But this is a critical path method, and it's not necessarily a Gantt chart.
No, but this could be a test question.
So when you see these, if you're asked what it is a critical path method. Why? Because essentially it's trying to show the optimum way of getting to the finish line. All right, so an allowance for a particular material stated by the contractor would comprise of which of the following? Check 3 that apply. Life cycle costs, commissioning costs, costs to the contractor, cost of delivery to the site, taxes, architect design fees. So what is an allowance, Miranda?
An allowance is a fee set aside for, I don't know, allowable material. I don't know. You explain it.
Can you give me an example of an allowance? Nassif, do you have an example of an allowance that you've heard of or is common in architecture?
Yeah, like if they're, for example, doing a bid, like unforeseen expenses, I guess, that like an incomplete package is sent out for bid, and like the bidder would, is that contingencies or is that allowance? Is that contingencies?
This is an allowance for particular material.
So an allowance is
set aside funds.
So contingencies are different. So so there is unit price, and then there is allowances, and there is alternates, right? So these are different things. So unit price would be something like price of brick, $2.99 per brick, right? So if we need 10 bricks, multiply it times that. If you need 100 bricks, multiply it times that. Because a contractor might not know how many bricks he's gonna need on that job. He's gonna say, I'm gonna put a unit price for that. And it might need to be, and he might have an allowance for brick. Okay, so he might say, I'm gonna have a $5,000 allowance for brick. And I'm gonna give you a unit price for brick. If it ends up being more, there's gonna have to be a change order because you're gonna have to pay me extra. If it ends up being less, then you have it on the job as a credit. All right. So allowances are used for things that you cannot really anticipate, but they have kind of a big idea of what it is. For instance, like you know you're gonna need an MRI machine, like at a hospital. So they don't know how much it's gonna be. They don't know what it is. They don't know the specific brand of what it is, but they need an MRI. So they go online and say MRI machines range from this to this. I'm gonna put an allowance of, $50,000 for the MRI machine. We know we want. We know we definitely want an MRI machine. It's not a question of whether we want it or not. We know we're gonna have it. I know the allowance might be like a plotter. Oh, we need a plotter. Well, we don't know what plotter we're gonna get particularly, and we don't want the selection of that plotter, the process to wait to know what plotter we're gonna get to slow down the construction of that space or whatever. So we put an allowance for the plotter, and we know it's gonna cost X and X. Okay, and it's typically things like that, like machinery, fridge, for elements like that. Does it make sense?
Yep. Lauren, can you explain, just go, do you mind explaining like the difference now that you're on that with contingencies? How's that?
So contingency is something that's added onto the project budget or onto the contract for unforeseen conditions and things that you just don't know, because projects are very complex and they're typically 10% of the total project cost. You can put 10, 15, 20%.
So
10%
it's not,
is what I hear all the time.
so it's just a set percentage of that set aside.
So if the
While
project is
allowance,
the project is a million, you get 10% of the million set aside.
okay,
It's not a million plus 10%. So you can't count on the million. You're counting on a little less of the millions and saying, okay, there is a 10% contingent. It's got to be included with the total project budget. And
but the
then
allowance, and
uh,
the
uh,
allowance could be any amount. The allowance could be as much as it relative to what
so
it's.
they're completely different things. Allowances and contingencies are completely different things. An allowance is included within the whole total project budget already.
Yeah.
It's something we already know. A contingency is for something we don't know that may or may not happen.
Okay.
An allowance is going to happen. We are going to have an MRI machine. We are going to have pavers. We just don't know what pavers. So I'm gonna get a general price for pavers, and I'll tell you what that is.
Got it.
Allowances, we know that we're gonna have them. Alternates are things that we may or may not have. It all depends on how much they really cost. Alternates, maybe whether we're gonna use a wood door versus a hollow door, a fiberboard door. So we don't know. So you know what? I'm gonna put an alternate for one and the other. I'm gonna price it separately. And then when the prices come in from the bids, the owner will decide whether he wants to keep the alternate one or he wants to discard alternate one. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Unit price again is just a list of prices for what the cost of those things are. It could be a cost per cubic jar of digging of soil, a cost of cubic jar of concrete, a cost of certain material, a brick, things like that. And they just put a unit price for all of those things. And whether they come into play or not, they are already included. And it's relevant stuff. It's not throwing just unit price for things that they won't use on the job. It's things that they use that they're gonna need, but they don't know how much of it they're gonna use, right? Okay, so that's what that is. So my job, I set a unit price for flooring. It was gonna be a $2 per square feet of flooring, and I didn't know how much it was gonna be. So when I did my math, I did my math in Revit for how much flooring was gonna be, but I didn't count for weights. It was gonna be 15 or 20% of the weights because you got to cut some of that flooring. So, and things like that. So whatever the price is what the price ended up being. But the owner could, the owner had an idea because of the square footage of what it was going to be. And I told him it's going to be a little more and then plus taxes too. So they didn't, the taxes, they need to pay for the taxes. I'm not paying for their taxes. And this is me acting as a contractor, not as an architect, so that you know the difference. So in this one, an allowance an allowance again is this item that you need that you're gonna get, and you don't know the specifics of that item. So does it include life cycle costs? I don't think so. Commissioning costs? I don't think so. Cost to the contractor? Yeah, it should cost like what's gonna cost the contractor should probably be included. Now again, this is me thinking, okay, because it's the cost, like it's the allowance of the cost of the to the contract, cost of delivery to the site. I think it should be included in that allowance. Taxes, I think it should be included. I don't think the architect's fee should be included on that. That has nothing to do with the architect at all.
No, because it's referring to material.
And I don't think it has to do because life cycle costs, right? Let's talk about life cycle costs. Life cycle costs is um, it's different from, it's related a little to operating costs of something. So you buy that thing, right? And that thing costs me so much over a period of time. So, and you know, when something is very efficient, knowing the payback of that item, like for instance, if you were to get an energy efficient heating system, it might cost more right now. Let's say it costs $2,000 to get the energy efficient system versus another one that's not energy efficient, but it saves you $5 per day of using it over a period of years. You're gonna be able to have already paid it back. So that has to do with life cycle costs. Like, and also this life cycle, no, that's actually the payback, but the life cycle cost is also the maintenance. How much does it cost to fix it? If it was to fix, how many times we have to service it? So life cycle cost is things like that, like how many times we have to service it, how many times we have to repair it and check it and things like that. So that's life cycle cost. So it has nothing to do with that. So so going to the answers, let me see the answer. Okay, no, no. Cost to the contractor, cost of delivery to the site, taxes. Is that what we said?
Yeah.
Cost to the contractor, cost of delivery to the site, taxes. Yes, that's correct. All right. Does it make sense, guys?
It does.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's go through the next one. So what is meant by a waiver of subrogation in an owner architect contract? I tried to explain this with you guys during the A201 and B101 when that topic came up. So just so you know, before we even go into the question. So actually, let me go through the question and then we can answer. What do you think? Which one's better? I explain it or do I go through the question?
What is meant by waiver of subrogation?
Are you talking to us, Abeli?
No, sorry.
All right, so I'm gonna just go through it. So either party can terminate the contract if there is a failure to perform the contract, limits the claims by either party to damages. The architect and the owner cannot sue each other for items covered by the property insurances. The insurer can sue the architect can sue the owner. So it's only one that we have to pick, right?
Yes.
Anybody knows the answer?
I think it's number 3.
What? Number 3? Why do you think that? By the way, your audio is kind of weird.
Oh, does it hear better? Oh, I
Yeah.
think my headphones died.
So why do you think that's the one?
I think because they're talking about waiver, so saying that something is excluded by something.
It's good. It's good how you kind of just get a word and
Mhm.
get and try to get it. So subrogation is a term used when, let's say, Miranda and I have insurance. Both of us have insurance. And I happen to hit Miranda's car with my car. But we're working on this project right now. And I hit the car on this job site. The job site has already insurance for any damages that happen on the job site. So because the job site is gonna cover those damages to both of our insurances, her insurance doesn't go after my insurance, and my insurance doesn't go after her insurance. That's already being covered by something else, right? Or vice versa. Her, there's no insurance in the job site. I hit her car. We're working on this project in good faith. It's an accident. It happens because she has insurance that's already covering the matter, and you know it's not gonna be any issues to her. She's gonna waive the rights to go after my insurance. She's gonna cover herself. But the thing is, it's a mutual protection because if Miranda was to hit me, it would be the same thing. I wouldn't go after her. I would just cover it with my insurance because I already have insurance. Okay. It's sort of like reducing the redundancy of claims because it's gonna be a claim after another claim after another claim. It's like, whoa. Let's just.
It's like to avoid double.
What is it?
Like to avoid double cases. If
Exactly.
you're applying with the property insurance plus the, I don't know, workers' comp, or I don't know, like property.
So you know each other for each other for items covered by the property. Yeah, that's kind of the best answer. This is also a good one. Okay, limits the claims. That's a good one. So out of the so I wouldn't. This is not a good one. This is not a good one. This is not a good one. So I am between these two. Anybody else?
I would pick 3.
Three. Okay. Massive.
I think 3.
Okay. Good. Let's see what the answer is. A waiver of subrogation means that the architect and the owner cannot sue each other for items covered by the property insurance. So did my explanation help you figure this out also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I said, like, I actually explained it exactly like it was. Like, you know, if there's already an insurance on the property, why are you gonna sue me? You know, it's gonna be already covered. So yeah,
Yeah, and waiver of subrogation, that's the same thing as waiver of consequential damages.
no,
No?
similar, but no. So waiver of consequential damages says that. All right, so I have an accident in the job site. My car gets damaged, right? That's already gonna be covered by the property insurance. But let's say because of that accident, I am late to a $1 million project meeting that was mine, and I lose that $1 million meeting. That's a consequence of damage to that initial situation. So that insurance already covers my property damage. Who covers my consequence of damages for not making it on time? That's when I'm gonna sue you now. So that's what I'm gonna sue you. I'm gonna sue you for the consequence of damages of that. All right. So, and then there is this other term called liquidated damages, which I've explained before. And liquidated damages is, well, Albelis, you're supposed to finish my project by Christmas because I'm gonna do a grand opening of my store in Christmas. If you don't open, if we don't open that project by Christmas, I'm gonna lose money because of your delays on that. I'm gonna charge you liquidated damages per day of my delay, but I'm also going to give you a bonus or some sort of an incentive for finishing any day before Christmas that you finish. All right. So that's the liquidated damages is the failure to meet the deadline. Okay. That's kind of like a consequence of damage because I am not making money on my Christmas opening of my store because of your failure to open it. But it's not called consequence of damages, it's called liquidated damages. Okay. All right. So we'll go to question 4. Miranda, can you read it?
Okay. An architecture firm has recently awarded several projects, many of which are complex and will require construction management services. They include a 16-unit prototypical condominium complex where time is of the essence, county prison, the 5th of its kind in the last 2 years, where the owner will need to know final construction cost early in the design process, a first of its kind indoor snow tubing park, though the management team has an idea of what trades will need to go into designing this facility. They would like not to take any risk during construction and will work for a fixed fee. A new hospital for an existing client where the client needs only constructability and cost management services during design and construction. Which project aligns with the given project delivery methods?
Okay, who wants to take a pass at it? Abel, you want to give it a shot?
Okay.
Did you study the delivery methods when we spoke last time? I remember sharing with you a PDF on the delivery method. Did you study that? This should help.
Yeah. Yeah, I studied for the first test, but I think I always get it wrong. But let's just give it a try, okay?
Go for it.
The 16-unit prototypical condominium complex where the time is in the essence. I don't know. I don't want to give it a try.
So time is of the essence. which one do you think would be the fastest delivery method?
So the CMA is construction manager,
As
architect,
contract.
and then construction manager, contractor.
Mhm.
Okay, so that would be construction manager, contractor, because time is in the essence.
So you want to do that one for the condos?
And then a contribution differs of its kind of last year with the owner will need to know the final. Well, the final, that would be a designer bid on the contribution present, but they don't have a design bid built. I don't think it's an option.
So you want to do design build on that? The prison on design build?
No, I mean, I think for the second will be design bid build because they want to know, actually, they want to know the final construction cost early on the design project. So it'll be a construction manager, contractor. I don't know. Sorry.
Where do you want to put it? We'll find out the answers. And we'll have Miranda do her own round, and I'm going to color the answers differently.
Okay, we can do that in a second.
Where do you want to do it?
In a second.
Here?
Mhm.
And then we have, where's the snow turbine park gonna go? Now you gotta think about why too, but we'll talk about it. But yeah.
And I think, and for the hospital, they need the CM advisor.
Okay.
And the indoor tubing will be design built.
Miranda, what's you thinking?
Okay, condos, time is of the essence. Okay, I'm just guessing. I would go with design build.
Design build for condos?
Yeah. And the prison, we should know final construction costs early in the design process. I would say CM advisor. No, sorry, CM constructor. Yeah, so prison CMC, and the snow tubing, management team, and the trades, they would not, they don't want to take any risk to construction. It'll work for a fixed fee. Okay. This is hard. Okay. Okay, the hospital, I'm going to say it's CM advisor.
I guess in the prison stays as that, right?
And then
so CMA is an agent,
no,
right?
the snow tubing park has to go under. Yeah, just put that.
Nasif, you want to try it too?
Yeah, I think only thing I would change, I would try, I don't know. I think the CMA, hold on, the CM advice, the CM as construct, I would put that as hospital. And as advisor as the, where the yeah, and the other one, what's this? So CMC as the hospital. So we're yeah, just switch the two, and that's it. And I'll say that those two. Does that make sense?
I don't know. I need to know all the answers that you have.
Oh yeah, so no. I think Miranda is correct. I agree that like condos is a complete is probably the fast track method would be better in that situation where it's like condominiums are
Well,
like
where do you get that you have a fast track method? There is not a fast track method in
so
here.
the design build is the fastest of them, right? Isn't it?
It could be.
Yeah. So the condos I think is suited for design build, right? I agree with Miranda with that. The CMC for prisons, but at the hospitals I think. Well, no, hold on. No, CMC for the hospital and advisor for dude. What? Wait, hold on. Dang,
You need to get sharper on it. You know what? In the meantime, I'll tell you what I think. Is that
yeah.
okay? So my thinking is
Let's look at this man.
you guys are all onto something with your answers. I like what I see. So I'm just gonna look at this. So a 16 unit prototypical condominium complex where time is of the essence. So it's a prototypical building, meaning the units after you do one, they're all the same. It's almost probably like prefabricated almost, right? Like they're like all the same. So time is of the essence. So there are two delivery methods I would want to use. Either a design build or a construction manager as contractor. Because the design build can do it very fast and the construction manager as contractor can also do it very fast and offer practicability and save money and time. So this one I would say is either DB or CMC. Um, Now, how do I know which one of the two? Well, after I exhaust all my answers, I'll know. So I'll look at the other one. So a county prison, the fifth of its kind. So there are not many like that in the last 2 years, where the owner will need to know final construction costs early in the design process. So this one can also benefit from a CMA. I think that CMA is construction manager at risk.
Oh,
I
I
think
thought
that
it was agent.
yeah,
there's
because
CM agent.
but the thing is, agent and advisor are interchangeable. So I'm not sure. So or then it would be CMC is at risk. That's what it is, right?
Well, CM agent represents the owner throughout the entire project, whereas CM advisor, you use like
It still represents the
early.
owner. It still works for the owner.
Isn't the one they call advisor like they work with the owner, not like like they kind of advise the owner on like the construction process?
Yeah, I thought advisor is just for like fees and
Yeah, to know the prices
Establishing
before they actually go
costs.
to construction.
Yeah.
I find it weird that they're using both of these right now like this because they're pretty much the same. Their advisor and agent are pretty much almost the same. So the only difference is, yeah, you're right. One acts as the owner, the other one advises the owner throughout the
Mhm.
process. But here, why do I want a CMC? Because they are able to do a GMP on the project. And the same thing is true for a DB. But time is not so much of an essence, and DB is pretty fast. So these two is still pretty good on that end, right? So
Yeah.
we're there. A first of its kind indoor snow tubing park, though the management team has an idea of what trades will need to go into the designing of this facility, they would like not to take on any risk during construction and will work for a fixed fee. Gosh, gosh, because this is also a DB. They can do it for a
Design build,
GMP.
yeah.
You know, they can do it for a GMP also, and they could have not gotten it any you know. Gosh. All right, this is no helping my tie. A new hospital for an existing client where the client needs only constructability and cost management services. Okay, this is a little easier. So they can do either CM advisor or CMA, right? Those are the only two they can be. And I think it's probably just constructability, like advisor, right? Okay. All right, so that's the first round on answering
Let's
this
see the
question.
answers, unless
Yeah.
anybody wants to change or.
So the hospital should be the CM advisor. So that's, I think everybody was agreeing on that one. But the first of its kind indoor snow tubing, I think that needs to be design build. I think that needs to be design build. Then I'm gonna change my answer here. Time is of the essence. So I just think that CMC will work here. Oh, come on, I wanted to cover it. I wanted to cover it. CMC will work in here. And I think that, gosh, it's tough.
Then I think that could be CM advisor, couldn't it?
For what? For this one?
The final construction cost early, because I know CM advisor can turn into CM constructor for the prison.
Yeah.
That's in the HPP. Advisor can become constructor.
They do. They decide whether they want to do it or not. But we can't speculate that that's going to happen.
No.
So I'm going to go to the answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is tough.
Oh, hold on. I need to do like a screenshot of this real quick before I lose it.
It's a good question. I mean, this is a.
I think this is a great question. This is very good.
Is this from Black Spectacles? This question?
No,
Yeah.
designer hacks, right? Design black spectacles.
Yeah, let's see.
Oh.
So design build allows for quick and efficient construction, making the best choice for the 16. Okay, design build is for that one. Who got that one right?
Miranda. All right. Miranda got that.
Did I?
Yeah, you said design build for condominiums, right?
Yeah, she did.
Condo
She did.
design
She did.
build.
She did. Yeah. And that's where I was between design build and CMC, so I don't know which one. So and I believe you got that right. The design build is the fastest. Is that what?
Yeah.
That's what Aurelia said. Sorry, I didn't get that.
Okay, then
That's-
we have the CMC management role
Allows typically guarantee maximum price and commit early in the project involved in the construction. So the C will be the contractor for the job. Is the best for the prison. So the prison, Miranda got it right too. Miranda. got it right. And then the CMA management role only provides consulting. So typically work for a fixed fee and assume no risk and pass along the savings because so that's for the snow park. It will be the CMA.
So
Snow park. Wow, you are on to something. You got that one right too. So you got them all right, Miranda.
Yay. I can tell you my thinking just like quickly.
By the way, so in comparison with all the answers, yeah, I didn't know what to do with the snow tubing park. That's the one I.
I know. I mean, it's a weird question because I feel like they are interchangeable.
I think so. Kind of the thing that sets the snow tubing park is when they say the fixed fee, because they're doing a advisor, the advisor will give them a fixed fee. I think that's what the answer said.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, did I get that right?
Yeah, you got it right. You got it right.
Mhm.
No.
The CMA, sorry, not advisor, the CMA.
Yeah. So what was
Yeah.
you thinking, Miranda?
Well, when I saw time is of the essence, I knew for sure, like how Darwin put it, it was either design build or CMC.
Yeah.
And then with the next with the prison, they want to know final construction cost early in the design process. I was like, okay, that has to be a GMP, and a CMC provides GMP. So that's why I put that. But like you said, it could be design build. And then the snow tubing park, that was a bit trickier. Let's skip that. Do hospital first. Hospital. The client needs to know constructability and cost management services during design and construction. And the advisor provides those two services, constructability and cost management. And then the agent can become a constructor. So it's just a process of elimination, making the tubing park CMA.
Very good. By the way, I misspelled advisor. I'm sorry about that. But does it make sense, guys?
I mean, the way she's explaining it,
I think it would be nice to sit down and try it again on your own time. Try it again and try it again and try it again. You know, until you get it.
yeah.
Is there another one? Oh no, that's it. All right,
Yeah.
so that's it. Miranda,
Practice those delivery methods. Yeah, know the difference between CMC and which is also called a CM at risk. So CM contractor and CM at risk are the same thing. And then what?
You said CMC is also known as at risk?
So construction manager constructor is the same thing as the construction manager at risk.
Okay.
And then, yeah, just know the difference between an agent, a CM agent, and a CM advisor. Yeah.
So Miranda, we want to share the screen and show us your questions.
Sure.
So by the way, Joe Biden is on top right now, 16 electoral votes
Oh,
versus
thank God.
13.
Ooh. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, hold on.
So
Just
did you
gonna-
you did yours on PDD, right?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So you guys, this is a little advanced, but this is all good. This is all, you're gonna need to know these things eventually anyway.
So this is on the thermal section of the Amber book. So it's might not be super relevant for PDD, but I was just going in order. So this question I got wrong. A locale that generally has cool summers is likely to have what? Anybody can guess. Are you all thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna have many heating degree days. I think that's my thinking. Anybody else?
Nope. I'm not gonna even try.
These are terms that you kind of have to think about. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand them 100% myself, honestly. But the point of it is that if this place is cold in the summer when it's supposed to be hot everywhere else, then it's always cold. So you're gonna need to spend a lot of money on heating it. So you're gonna have a lot of heating degree days that you're gonna need to spend money on heating. That's
Yeah.
my rationale. Anybody else?
That makes sense. I mean, if the summer has to be hot and it's cool, means
Exactly.
the entire year it's cold.
Exactly. It's kind of
So
like
you-
it's kind of like Alaska. But now it's understanding that term, the degree days, heating degree days, and like, I'm not an expert on it. This is my gut feeling on it, so I don't know.
Well, yeah, my reasoning for this, I thought cool summer meant it's a cool winter. So that was my logic for saying few heating degree days, but yeah, I totally guessed. And correct answer is few cooling degree days.
Few cooling degree days.
Yeah. So I think, Darwin, do you think I need to know these for PDD or is it more PA?
Yeah, PDD, but you need to understand them. PA and PDD, but yeah, PDD mostly. But
Well, the answer is really good, so I can like study my answers. Wrong answers.
so the rationale is okay. Few cooling degree days, meaning they're not gonna need to be cooling this place too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of this.
It's the opposite of what we're saying.
Yeah, exactly. It's the
Mhm.
opposite. Yeah.
They worry more about the cooling than the heating.
So you don't have to worry about cooling it. And since they're talking about the summer anyway, so yeah, got it.
Okay. Yes, I'll study
So
those.
or thinking is right. Yeah, or thinking is right, just in the opposite, because it's like the summers are gonna have very few cooling degree days.
Right. Okay.
I was thinking about throughout the whole year.
Yeah.
I think they're just talking about the summer.
The summer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Oh, I skipped that question. Let's skip it. It's too much work right now. So this is why I asked if I should know the psychrometrics chart.
It's always good, but to be honest, I remember me and my wife on my wedding date fighting over this stuff because I was taking a class on the same day of my wedding, and I had to use this, and she's like, stupid psycho. She was like, a stupid psychometric chart. You're never gonna use it. And then I see it on the exam. I'm like, shit. Yeah, it does show up. It does show up, but it's more like on programming and project planning and design. I think I didn't see it. I didn't see it on PDD.
Okay. Yeah, these questions from the Amber book.
So let me see.
comprise of-
So on the psychometric chart diagram below, draw the path that warm, moist outside air will take as it contacts a cold surface, such as the window of an air-conditioned room. Make clear beginning and end points and show the direction of the path with an arrow.
I didn't know.
So just let me see my annotate. So this zone right here is like the dew point where things turn into water. It's like high moisture, high humidity type of deal. This is low humidity, low moisture. So that's just, and then this is one is latent heat, I think, and then the other one is like dry bulb temperature.
Enthalpy.
I have to really review it, so I'm not 100% sure on it now.
No, it's good.
But so what they're asking us is, so I think I wouldn't go that direction. I would go like here or something. I don't know. I'm guessing too, but it's like this direction is where like it's gonna start turning into water.
Mhm. I can show you the answer.
Yeah, I'm completely guessing it. I don't know.
Can you see my screen?
Got it.
So it's this one. And then there's a whole long definition about why and how.
Well, do you have it? I don't know
Yeah.
much about that one.
No,
Hopefully it's only one question without her.
I mean, there's another one. So this one is wrong.
Isn't it great? On election day, we're studying. Like, there's nothing better to do.
Yeah. This question, I think I need to study it myself because the right answer was like something like this.
Yeah. I have a whole document on this, so maybe we have a session eventually and I'll talk about it. It's from that class that I do.
Yeah, I have class stuff. I should have just paid attention more.
Yeah.
Okay, two bodies in direct contact with each other will transfer heat primarily by the mechanism of.
It will be either conduction or it will be conduction. If they're in direct contact with each other, it would be conduction.
That is right.
Okay. Anybody knows? Right, because there is radiation is like I am hot. That sounds funny.
Mhm.
I am hot, and then somebody next to me is getting hot off of me. Like I'm just radiating that heat onto that thing. You know, so in convection is like I have a material and I have another material, and this one is hot and this one is not, but there is a material that's connecting the two of them and it's transferring the heat through that material. So convection will be like, that's what we're trying to avoid on our thermal breaks on our windows. We're trying to avoid that convection and conduction too. So we don't want them to touch each other. Does it make sense? Am I right? It doesn't.
Convection heat transfer within fluid or between a solid and a liquid. It makes sense.
And then, so convection is what we do. Yeah, exactly. Because I was saying by means of using a material to connect it to. So convection is what we do for radiating heat that we have, like the radiant heat all around it. So we have heat that's going through in the water, right? And the water heats the surfaces, and then everything is great. And then you still have radiation because then the floor gets heated, and the floor is so hot it's gonna heat everything else, right? Okay, so those are the three methods. Those are the main three methods.
And then, okay, there's two. Okay, this one.
What's the question?
The section, I think this is just the question. The section diagram above describes passive heating, or the section diagram above describes passive cooling. So a very obvious answer.
Yeah, because there's no way it's B, right? Yeah. So, but why? So this section right now. So the sun is being. Yeah, just spacing this building so and hiding this building so that the sun can still go into this space, right? Passive cooling will be if you put a close so that the sun doesn't heat it and doesn't go in.
Right. For some reason, I thought it was shading, but it does have like full sun.
It's not shading because the sun is going right through. Okay, next.
Okay. In cold climates, direct gain spaces may be mechanically heated in wintertime. In cold climates, direct gain spaces may be mechanically heated in wintertime.
I mean, why did you answer false? I mean, it's cold. You're gonna have to heat it with a mechanical system, right? Like,
yeah, I think I read the question oppositely.
You do that.
But if it's in direct gain, if it's in interior space and it's cold, if it's direct gain of the sun, you won't have to heat it as much.
I really, but the thing is, they also say it may be done in any way you want it to be. That's one thing too, right? And then direct gain.
Because those are the spaces that normally are facing the sun, even though it's as cold, because they're facing the sun, they're gaining heat.
But you can't just rely on that one. You will not be able to just rely on the sun to heat a cool place.
So the statement is true. Direct gain spaces are generally mechanically heated in wintertime. But I think, interpret it as if there is direct gain, why not just use that?
Okay.
The heat gain, but. Yes. That's fine. And then the last one I got wrong is the sun's position in the sky along the vertical axis is called its
So the sun position in the sky along the vertical axis is either the solar
Oops.
angle
Altitude.
or altitude. But azimuth it's in plan, by the way. Azimuth is where it is
Horizontal.
in plan. Yeah. So solar angle is like whether it's summer or whether it's winter. And, but it's either, well, it's either B or A for sure. I wouldn't know which one to pick. Maybe it's altitude.
That's right.
I think it's altitude, yeah.
Yeah.
Altitude always refers to the vertical axis.
Altitude's vertical. And then horizontal is azimuth. Yeah, solar altitude describes the sun's angle above the horizon. The azimuth describes the position of the sun relative to the cardinal points north, south, east, and west. It's usually measured in degrees from south. Okay. Okay, that was all.
Exam is very tough.
There's a lot to study. It's, I think, the longest exam. So yeah, next.
It is the longest one.
Yeah. Okay, that was it, Darwin.
All right, good. We're right on time, and now we can just actually just bite our nails all night watching this election and get a beer. All right, so good job. This is good. And you know, I'll see Nassif and Albelis on Thursday and Friday, and we'll keep going. You guys keep doing your practice questions. This is working. All right.
Okay. Darwin, I want to ask you something before. So when you left, I was talking with Miranda that my approach for my first exam was mostly black spectacle. So I did notice that most of the things they just didn't wear in the exam, like some things I didn't even study because they were mentioned in black spectacle. So will you think it's a better approach for me just start doing a lot of practice tests, or just practice it, and then getting into like when I get the answer?
So there are two things I would do. One, do practice tests, and two, go like if you have any personal notes, go through those personal notes when you remember that you didn't do so well, and focus on those things. And then the third one is have a one-on-one session with me on that exam.
Okay, perfect. I will just do a couple of practice tests before we meet.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll talk on my. I think Thursday and Friday. What I'm thinking is, I have some recorded sessions that we had. Maybe I share some of that for like a few minutes, and then because I did a prep class right before the exam with Miranda, I think, or some of you guys for project management, and then they're very good. I'm not sharing anything on the screen; it's just mostly me talking. But if you listen, it will be helpful. I don't want to share some things, but it will be very helpful. All right, and then we'll do one-on-one. Well, it's like we have to do it right before the exam. Like I don't know, it's a Wednesday, maybe Tuesday or Monday in morning. You know, even though we have sessions in the night, maybe we can do one in the morning, you and I. All right.
Do you have any like recordings of the B101?
The B101 when I taught it, no, I don't think we recorded it then. No.
I can just ask you a lot when we meet together. Okay.
Maybe we go over that, you know, but yeah, I get it.
All right.
All right. There is a recording by this teacher from Chicago, Henry Snyder or whatever. They are good. I don't know if you listen to them. Have you listened to them?
Yeah. I haven't.
You have it, or do you have that?
I have not. I have not.
Miranda and Nassif, can you guys share that?
Are you talking about Michael Hanahan?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I should share that.
Yeah, that's in my study notes.
You should listen to him. He's
There's
good.
a link.
He's better than me in those actually, but I like to think I'm just as good. So
It's really good.
he's really good. He's a lawyer. I mean, come on. So and an architect. So yeah, let's stay in touch, guys. Good luck with everything. We'll stay in touch. All right. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye.
All right, bye.